Hi YouTube, Engineer Boy 100 again. Here we are today with the task of changing the front CV boots, CV constant velocity boots on a Porsche 996 Turbo. And here we have the boots, some grease to put in there, and the two clamps. To do this job, you will need, with this particular style of clamp anyway, you will need this tool. Okay, it's not too expensive. I got this one on eBay a while back, a few years back. I don't know exactly how much I paid, but it was from Performance Tool. Part number is W83013. In case you just want to go ahead and grab this particular one, because when I bought this, I did my research, and this was the line of best fit for me for quality and price. Okay, so let's go over to the car and take off the hub and take that front CV boot off of the drive shaft. Okay, I'm going to apologize right up front for the lawnmower. I've been waiting and waiting for them to quit, but every time one stops, another one starts up, so I'm just going to go ahead on. Here's your drive shaft, and here's your CV boot. Mine's all dried and cracked in here, and the other side is completely busted, and the grease came out. When you do this job, a good thing to note is this is your speed sensor here, okay? And it reads these little, for lack of a better term, I really should have looked this up. I don't know what you call them, but these little metal raised areas on the end of the shaft. This little sensor on the tip here, it reads these, and this is how it tells your speedometer how fast your car is going. So when you take this off, go ahead and clean up your speed sensor, and if this is dirty, wire brush out these little grooves. That way you won't end up buying a new speed sensor just because it's dirty. So anyway, next step is going to be to take off the boot, take off the end here of the drive shaft, grease it up, put the boot on, clamp it here, and then put grease all over the end of this. Is actually another bearing, and then clamp this end, and that should do it. Alright, so this is what I have to do to finish getting these CV boots off. This is the inside portion that connects to the transmission. I had to take this boot off and take the bolts out and take the end of the shaft off. And inside of there's a little clip ring, a little snap ring right here. I gotta take that loose, so I'll do that now. Take the little snap ring loose with my little tool, and I don't want it to go all over the place, so I'm gonna try to contain it. Sorry for blocking the view, but I don't want to lose the ring. So I'm gonna get this little tool in here like this, and then I'm going to, oh man, on the video too. It's doing this to me on the video. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to have to get a little screwdriver, I guess, and coax it out. And when I open it up, now watch me lose it. So now it's just about off. If I can get my finger behind it. Perfect. There you go. So now I've got this little ring off here. Now we should be able to slide this off fairly easily. If not, just give it a little tap. And I'm going to put this in a magnet bowl so I don't lose it. See, but it should just come off pretty easy. It's moving. Yeah, there we go. So now all I have to do is clean this up, re-grease it, take off this boot here, And I can take the other boot off the other end of the shaft and slide everything on from the inside in. Okie doke. Whew. This is going to be messy. Okay, so I got the little clips off. So now I can just slide this boot off this end. And I can slide the other boot off this same end. This boot here, once I take it out of the vise, take it off there, and I can slide it off here, replace this boot, put this boot on, and replace the bearing. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So here we have the other end off. This is the outside of the shaft, and you just take that boot and slide it all the way down off the other end. And then looking at the I want to call it grease. The grease is so worn out and so tired. The grease is basically, look at this. The grease is just basically oil. It just pours out like oil. That's how worn out it is. It's just no good at all. So to clean all this yuck up, and then I will put new grease in, put the new boots on, and put the end bearing back on, and the ring clip. Okie doke, and then just reinstall your shaft. That is how we do boots, at least the front ones, on a Porsche 996 Turbo without breaking anything. Alright, we got everything all cleaned up, and I know you guys are pissed off because you can't see my beautiful face. But what we're going to do now is just start with the outside of the shaft here and just start putting stuff on. We're going to put the boot on, we're going to put the grease on, we're going to put the little clamps on. So these are the clamps that go with this one. So I think we just put it on like this. That's how you get it on. Because I don't think this side comes off without damaging something. So once you get to this point, it's time to just go ahead and load it up with grease. So I'm going to load up the ball bearings with grease, and then I'm going to put the rest. It's nice, comes in a nice little convenient tube. Got this off of eBay too. See if I can get it open. Probably should have did this before, I know. But I didn't realize I had this all blocked in. Okay, so now I'm just going to load it up with grease. Load it up with grease. Like so, and then I'll pull the rest, squeeze the rest into the boot here. And this is nice and thick the way grease is supposed to be. Not like the oil we took out of here. And I'm kind of glad I couldn't get this side off, because this way it forced me basically to do both sides. And then in looking at it, they both needed it. Both sides needed to be done. So there you go. So now this has like a little lip on it, so it's kind of, I don't want any squeeze out. Come on! Oh man, I think I might have put too much, but you know what? I'm gonna try to get it all to go in. Anyway, come on, come on. Here we go. Nice. Now this is gonna come in. You don't want this all the way out, because this thing needs to flex when you're turning your wheels. And that's why there's some air in there. And I'm going to try to get the air to come out and no grease. Let's see. You want this down kind of close if you can get, yeah, see, there we go. There's a little bump where it's supposed to be. So now I'm going to start making a mess on some of this nice white paper towel. Then you can take your little clamp and put it down. Oh man, it's already set and everything. This is nice. Go ahead and see if I can get it on here though. I probably should have put it on here before I put it on the shaft. But I didn't. And I hope I don't have to take it off. Oh God. I think I might have to take it off. See there, the air came out. You heard that little hissing sound? That was the air escaping. And the grease is staying in. So I'm not going to make you watch this whole process. I'm going to put the clips on, and then I'll show you the clips on, and then I'll do the other side. Struggle a little bit, and I'll let you see that. Okay, so I finally got that small clamp on right here. And what you do is, there's like a little depression right here in the rod. Bring the small end of the CV boot down to this depression and put the clamp on already closed up, like not crimped down, but closed over, okay, like it comes. And then put some grease on the rod and slide it up, because you're not going to get it on while it's up here. Nope, it ain't going on. So there you have it. That's how you do it. Or I actually took mine all the way off of here, put it on, and then split, but it was hard to get it up over this. So I'm thinking if you do it here, it might be easier. Play around with it. So the bigger end is much easier. I mean, the big clamp goes on pretty much by hand. You just put it on, make sure everything's lined up. There's like a little groove there. And you go as far as you can, and then you push it down on a little, I think I can go farther than that actually. Push down on the bottom part, and then just close it up as much. My hands are greasy, so everything's slipping. Perfect. But you close it down, you can get it to go on pretty easily because you've got more material to work with. But that little guy, man, that was tough. Unless somebody knows an easier way. That was pretty tough for me anyway. Okay, something like that. I'm going to try and get that on tighter before I crimp it. But that's how you do it. And then the other end is going to be pretty straightforward. You just take your boot, put it on first. I'm going to get my clamp, like I said, put it on. Okay, we're already greased up. Put the boot on like so. I'm glad that clip didn't go flying across the room. Oh man. Why did it always do it flying and then when I'm on camera? Nope. It's like having a 2-year-old. They always act up in front of everybody. So, oh man. I'm trying to get this on. So everybody can see it go on. And there's other things too that are good about seeing this. You can make decisions about whether or not you want to do this yourself or take it to the shop. Because not everybody's gonna enjoy this kind of a project. So this is useful information in that respect. All right. Well, we're gonna have to go off camera again, get it figured out. Okay, so this outside end is ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp this with the little crimper tool here. Tighten it up. And on the other end, I'm going to put that ring clip on right here. Put the ring clip on, and then I'm going to close up that end. Nice and tight. Okay, so that's what happens when you have cheap tools. Great, now I'm screwed again. Jeez. Broke right on camera too. Oh well, so much for the W83013. Cheap. Now I gotta go get a tool. Perfect. Alright, so the way you get this on is, see the little detent I mentioned before? Take the small end and put it in the detent. That's where it stays anyway. Once it goes there, it's relieved, and you can take your small clamp and it just goes on like butter. Just boop, and there it is. Nice and easy. It's easy when you know how. So there you go. Now we'll start assembling the rest of this end. Fill it up with grease. So we'll fill it up with grease. And then we'll button her up. Let's go ahead. Put the grease in there. Put a bunch of grease in there before I... Oh man. I might have to cut this part out. In there. This is this boot side. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put some more here. Excuse me. Put this on like so. Alrighty there. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Splines lined up, and it's got to be nice and square. It ain't going on. There we go. And cue music. I'll probably cut a lot of this out. We'll see. We'll see how much ends up on the cutting room floor, and how much actually makes it to production. Put this in here like so, and pop it. There's a nice little lip on this inner. So yeah, getting that boot on there, takes a little bit of work. Kind of like mounting a tire on a rim by hand. Once I get it on there, I'll fill up this end, put the cap on, and then reinstall the actual splines that go in the transmission. And we'll pop it back in the transmission, and then put the bearing and everything else back on. Okay, so we got that. Now we can fill this with more grease. So we can just warm up and go on into the bearings, and we're going to cap this and line up the holes like so. Get those holes lined up like so, and then there's the threads like so. And then we'll start putting these little guys in. So I marked one in red on the back, you can see there, so I know where they go. So this one goes here, and we're going to bolt it in, and then once I get these in hand tight, I'll put my other clamp on the other end of this boot, and then we'll start reassembling. Okay, so there you go. Alright, we've got her all buttoned up now. Crimped it with the crimper tool on the big end, the small end here. It's all tight, ready to go. So let's go over to the car and reinstall it. Now, here's a quick tip. On the side that goes into the transmission, there's a little ring right here. You see this little ring? And there's a gap in that ring. If you position it with this opening down so that the solid part is on the top of the shaft, it makes installation easier. It seems really, really simple, but that really cool point of when you go to insert this and pop it back into the transmission, if you have this little ring on the shaft positioned like this with the opening on the bottom, it'll go in easier. The reason for that is it sags more when you have the opening on top, and then the ring gets in the way of the insertion. Okay, off we go to the car. Alright, I've got my ring lined up with the top of the ring lined up with this. I can just eyeball this as it goes in. I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see because it's dark and you can't get any light in there and work at the same time. So here goes. Then it just pops right in. Perfect. So here we go. Now, all we have to do is install our bearing and hub, our disc, our brakes, and our tire, and off we go.